everybody. I'm here. I told you all that I was going to start doing a video diary series documenting the day-to-day writing process of my brand new book that I just am literally starting. And today was day one. So I'm here. It's getting a little bit late and I am very, very tired, but I was determined I'm not going to miss the very first day of this series. So I am here to give you a little update and, let you know what happened today, what I was focused on, what I was working on. For those of you who don't know, I'm Sylvia Mercedes. I'm a romantasy novelist. I have been doing this job. I've been a professional novelist for 16 years. I have been writing under this pen name for 5 years. And this is my 28th novel that I am beginning under this pen name. I have written a number of other novels under a different pen name, but for the most part, I don't reference those or talk about those when I'm, referring to my current career. But I've been doing this job for a long time. I've been writing books for a long time. And yet, everyone feels like a completely different adventure. It technically is. But I think it's going to be really good for me to document the process in this very concrete sort of way. Just so I can go back even and reference these at some point and just kind of see some of the familiar patterns as they're playing out, see some of my own thought processes as they play out. So I'm kind of interested to see how this continues day after day. I wasn't expecting to start this series until Monday, but as it turned out, I finished up the project I was working on early and I had a day to kind of get my feet under me basically for this project. So I went ahead and did it and made a start, kind of an intense start. So just FYI, these videos are going to be very, very unscripted. They're probably going to be a little chaotic. I'm probably not going to be the most articulate, especially since most of them are going to happen at the end of the day when I am already tired and my brain is kind of done braining. So just be prepared for that. But anyway, so today was brainstorming day, basically. I spent basically all day on trying to brainstorm what this book is going to be. Now, obviously, I don't sit down to write a book unless I have an idea of what I'm doing, but having an idea, having main characters, having even an overarching plot goal is not necessarily the same thing as having a full story that's ready to be written. Now, obviously different people have different processes for how they write. There's lots of seat of the pants writers out there who would be like, yeah, I've got the main characters, I've got their motivations, I kind of have a vague idea which direction I'm going, let's get started. That is not me. Before I can really sit down and start, I need to have a chapter by chapter outline. Now, it can be a very sparse chapter by chapter outline, and the truth is my writing process involves quite a lot of spontaneous creativity along the way, but I just never feel safe and confident to start a story unless I've got a chapter by chapter outline, even if I end up tossing it completely or only using bits and pieces of it. It's just there's something in my brain that just needs that safety net of a chapter by chapter outline before I can commit to actually starting to put story down. In this instance, the brainstorming was kind of it was unique in that this is book 2 of an ongoing trilogy. So we already have the 2 main characters established from book 1, and chapter 1 is going to basically pick up right where we left off at the end of book 1. So I know my 2 leads. I know their current needs and motivations and goals. I know where I'm starting the book. And then I also have a vague idea of where the overarching plot of the trilogy is going. But the truth is, in this instance, I've not had a very specific idea of where this trilogy is headed. I've had a vague idea. And that happens sometimes. Some of my series start with this super crystal clear, this is the end goal. My Bride of the Shadow King trilogy, which is the sister trilogy to this one. That one I always had the climax that I was aiming toward and a very, very clear goal in mind. But then another series like my Prince of the Doom City series, I really didn't. I had the characters, I had the basic like crisis, I had their basic motivations for things, but I didn't really know where I was going with it for like quite a while. So I'm not too concerned about that, but I also want to be very careful as I'm brainstorming book 2 that I don't like block myself into something that I really don't want to then do for book 3. So I am trying to brainstorm both book 2 and book 3 together. And then this is also like the added complexity here on top of not being absolutely certain of what my end goal is for the trilogy is this is a sister trilogy to my Bride of the Shadow King series. And the third Bride of the Shadow King book, the final Bride of the Shadow King book, has, I think it's one scene, maybe 2 scenes of overlap with this one that I have to incorporate into this because it happened in an already published series. And there were some specific details about things that I put into that one that I am, I had an idea at the time when I wrote that one. I had ideas of where I was going to go with this trilogy, but the truth is my focus and concentration was on that trilogy. It was on the Shadow King trilogy and those 2 main characters. I really hadn't written a word about these 2 main characters, at least not as main characters before. So I wasn't deeply concerned with their plot. I had a vague idea of what I was going to do with them. And then I just did some interesting things that I thought, okay, I think I know what I want to do, and I'm going to do this, and it'll be fun, and I'll figure it out when I get there. Because I hate to admit it. It's kind of vulnerable to admit it. But, 16 years in, and I still tend to have a bit of a futz around and find out sort of mentality. Like, for all I'm a planner, for all I'm a, outliner, for all I like to kind of have a concrete something, well, not concrete, but like I like to have some kind of a map. Like, the truth is, like, there is this dangerous side of me that does just believe in my ability to come up with stuff when I get there. And the truth is, like, to an extent, I have earned that belief in myself. Like, again, I have been doing this for a long time. But I don't know, like, the spontaneity, like the habit of spontaneity is there. I don't know if like the confidence of spontaneity is what it used to be. It's one of those phenomenons where like the more you write, the more you realize how little you know about your own craft. I think this is just a universal truth with any creator. It's like the better you get at it, the more you realize how bad you are at it. And so I don't know. So I still have the habit of spontaneity, but I also don't necessarily like trust my ability to come up with clear solutions. So again, that's why we're brainstorming. That's why we're outlining. So I spent hours today. Like I left the house, went to 2 different coffee shops, and spent just hours. So I wasn't by myself. My process includes I have my brainstorming partner who is also my beloved husband. And he like works back and forth with me. Like we bounce things back and forth. And I will be honest, most of what was bouncing back and forth in today was really bad. Like this was not good brainstorm. A lot of it wasn't. I mean, it's all good. It's all useful. We're digging through, the refuse to find the treasure. And we did find a couple of treasures. I do feel like we found a couple of good things along the way. And, I think by the end of the brainstorming today, I have got a pretty basic, idea of what book 2 is going to be. Anyway, I'll have a few more things to say, even though I'm coming up on the end of my 10 minutes here. So I'm going to end this video and I'm going to do a second one because I just have more to say. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, this is the 4th time I have tried to record part 2 of today's recap, and we've just had some technical issues. So I am going to try to be like very, very brief here because like I'm kind of like I'm up to here in like just patience and sanity. So basically, where we ended today, I have a rough 3-act outline. I won't even call it an outline because I haven't actually put any written words on the page yet. I have a rough 3-act notion for what I think book 2 is going to be. And then I have even rougher of a 3-act maybe for what book 3 is going to be. And that's after working on this all day. Like, I started work at 7. I worked on this all day till about 5:30. And honestly, I'm really tired. I'm very, very tired. That being said, I really shouldn't complain because, like, I'm tired. I worked very hard all day. My brain is tired of braining. Like, I'm kind of done. But I also spent, like, the majority of the day in 2 different adorable coffee shops talking about imaginary people with my beautiful husband, who's my brainstorming partner. So I mean, like, tough life, right? Like, when I actually articulate it and I hear myself say it out loud, I'm like, I really don't think that I deserve a pity party right now. And so this is good. This is why I'm glad I'm doing this video series, even with technical issues. That means I'm recording this exact same series of thoughts for the 4th time. Probably not as well as I did the first 3 times. But I'm glad that I'm doing this because, like, hearing myself say it out loud, I don't know, it just kind of recontextualizes everything. I do tend to, like, think with my mouth. Like, I'm one of those people that, like, I just put my thoughts together better if I actually say them out loud. But I also work a very solitary job where I don't talk to people all that often, other than my poor husband. So this is kind of a good thing for me. Like, regardless of whether or not it finds its audience of people who find this entertaining, me rambling and getting frustrated and technology, like, absolutely owning my butt. Even if you guys don't find this interesting, I think it's a good experiment for me. I sat down to record this, like, kind of discouraged. And I don't know if it's just the process of recording this one 4 times or not, but, like, I do feel less discouraged now. I feel a little more excited about where I'm going. So we'll see. I mean, there's still a lot of things that need to be resolved, but, like, I have a place to start. Day 1 is done. I don't have to do day 1 again. So day 2 will be Monday. So I'll, hit you guys up again then with my recap of what I did that day. My plan is to start actually, like, writing these notions and ideas and things that I brainstormed down in some sort of a concrete way. Write out the 3-act structure, which is going to be basic. It's 3 acts of, like, main events with resolutions and whatever. And then I will start teasing out the actual, like, the characters and their motivations and their emotional arcs and, like, the romance arcs and, like, where I want the tropes to go. I've got a lot of, like, individual scenes that don't have, like, specific places where they belong yet, but that are just kind of living in my head with the characters interacting in different scenarios. So it should be fun. Like, my hope is that Monday will actually be pretty fun, starting to get to put those things into place. And then maybe that will clarify the vagueness that is currently book 3. My goal is to have both books outlined, probably with pretty solid chapter by chapter outlines before I start to draft. My other goal is I would like to start drafting by the end of next week, if at all possible. So we'll see. I mean, that's pretty ambitious, but I don't know. I mean, I've been doing this job for a while now, so I haven't by now learned to trust my own creative process. Like, when am I going to? Like, at some point, like, yes, there's a lot of spontaneity, wackiness, honestly, chaos that is part of my process that, my little, like, type A oldest daughter would like to, like, rein in and get under control. And honestly, I probably never will. So at some point I have to respect that side of me as well. Like, there is a side of me that is not a type A oldest daughter and is a chaos demon. And, like, I maybe just need to embrace a certain degree of that and be okay with it. Anyway, that's all for now. I would love to hear from you. If you have questions about what I'm talking about, please leave questions. Otherwise, I would just love to hear about, like, what was the best part of your day? What was the most challenging part of your day? Drop me a note in the comments. I will answer and chat with you over the weekend as I have opportunity. In the meanwhile, I'm going to stop recording now and hope and pray that this one actually took. And I'll see you all on Monday. Until then.